Hey guys, welcome back to Steelers Talk with Joe and John. It's been a while. I've been away on vacation. Last week, we actually made a video with a good friend of ours, and we just had recording issues and didn't get saved. So we're back, and what a way to be back for our first video back, in that Kenny Pickett is now the starting quarterback for your Pittsburgh Steelers. Give a round of
Joe, you called it. I mean, we're going back to the preview with my dad. You had said, or you had said that by the Jet game, if he's not the quarterback, then maybe they won't roll with him. But halfway through the Jet game, Mitch got pulled out. Kenny Pickett got put in. It wasn't a stellar debut, but definitely anything better than Mitch Trubisky would have done. And that's definitely going to be exciting next week. And unfortunately, of course, his next game he's got to play against the Bills on the road. But it'll be a good test for him.
Yeah, it will be. And my thing is though, is that I didn't like. I kind of had a feeling they were going to go to Kenny that game. Like, just gut instinct was like, I think they might go Kenny this game. But I don't really think Mitch deserved to get pulled that game. I didn't really think he looked that bad. I mean, if Deontay catches that touchdown pass, it gets drags his second foot in. Right? It was in inches. I didn't think Mitch played that bad. I thought he was actually improving on the season. But I still agree with the move.
Improving?
I mean, I thought he looked decent. I didn't think he looked bad.
No, I think he more looked like what he's looked like the last, honestly, since the season started. Like he's been at that like level, like
No,
that
I thought
plateau
he's improved
level.
because week 1 and week 2 were god awful. Week 3, I heard he actually looked kind of good. I didn't get to
He
watch the
was
game.
okay. All right. I guess you could say he was better after week 1 and week 2, but during the Jet game, remember there was one play where he's throwing the ball too high, and they're like it was his fault. One of the picks, like
That was
I,
no. That went off Deontay's hands.
I mean, and also Deontay really just has,
He
well, I
stunk it
guess,
up this year. He stunk it up.
he's going to have to struggle with drops for the rest of his NFL career at this point. But
Yeah.
I think, I mean, the move made sense. I think it made sense before the game. If it
Yes.
happened before the game, I think they would have won. But whatever. Hindsight is 2020. I mean, credit to the Jets and Zach Wilson. I mean, Zach Wilson didn't play great, but he delivered him down the field in the end, and that's what mattered. Um, I read today that T.J. Watt is going to be out even longer. Like I thought he was going to come back for my Bucks game in a couple of weeks, but they're saying after that, which I guess we want him to come back fully healthy. There's no rush. The team stinks. They're not going to win anything, so there's really no point in risking his long term health. Especially hopefully next season they'll be in a position to maybe compete for a playoff spot. I mean,
Yeah.
this season's all about the draft pick at this point
Yeah, I think it's really just about Kenny's development. Like,
and
obviously,
Kenny's development. Yeah,
I think obviously, right, you want the team to be good and be competitive and maybe make a run. But like, if we're gonna be realistic, that's not gonna happen, right? Like
no.
last year, you could say, I mean, yeah, last year they were 1-3 too, but they had a veteran quarterback who was able to bail them out at end of games, even though he did stink it up in the beginning, Ben. But either way, he was able to have that clutch gene at the end. And the defense was a lot better last year too, just because they had TJ Watt, really, right? So
He brings so much. It's like night and day what the defense looks like when
they
he's not.
haven't won a game without TJ Watt. They're 0-7 career when TJ Watt doesn't play.
And
When he's
they'll be
gone.
0-8 against the Bills.
Yeah.
The wild card game for me is my Bucks game. I think they actually
I think
kind of
they
have
could win
a
that game, and I think they could
yeah.
win another. I think they'll beat the Saints. I think they're going to win 2 to 3 games in this next stretch.
Oh, I wasn't gonna be that optimistic. I just think like if there's a game they're gonna win, like Brady's beating the crap out of them for their entire my lifetime at least. I think that's a game they could steal because the Bucks do not look good. Like, and I know they're getting Godwin back, but that team, like, I think it's beatable. And I think Kenny Pickett on the road in Buffalo, he's gonna have, I think, a rough game. It's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
He's a gamer
So,
though. He's a gamer though. So like I could see him like playing really
like,
well.
I could see him keeping the Steelers in it. Do I think they're gonna win?
The
Oh,
problem is the defense. The defense is
I
not gonna.
mean, Josh Allen. I'm playing against him in my most
Minka
important
might not
fantasy
play.
league next
Cam
week.
Sutton might not play.
Yeah,
Terrell Edmonds might not play.
yeah.
Like the entire defense is just banged up. Cam Hayward's been terrible. But again, we're getting off topic. Let's keep this on Kenny Pickett because I mean we could have a full dissection of what's
But
going on.
wait, let me say one thing. I just want to finish my thought. I'm playing against Josh Allen next week in my most important fantasy league, and he could legitimately throw for 50 fantasy points against our defense.
Oh, good luck. I'll be praying for you.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, let's talk about Kenny. This is the Kenny
So
episode.
in the game, 3 picks, but like one was a Hail Mary. The other one was because Chase Claypool's a useless player. Literally just high point the ball and catch it. Like the
Terrible.
one pick was bad was the Freiermuth one. That was the one I'm like, That was a bad one. You should have just threw it away, right?
And which was the one? There was one of them. It was either the Claypool or Fryermuth one. It was at the end of the game, and they were in field goal range. It would have iced the game. Was that Claypool?
The way it wouldn't have iced the game was Fryermuth, but that wouldn't have iced the game because they were only up 3 at the time. So
But like,
it would have made it a 6 point game.
but they shouldn't have even been throwing that. They had
That's the
control of the
thing. Like,
game.
so he had a bad pitch the play before, if you remember, to Jalen Warren. Apparently, it looked like he actually got stepped on it, but still, you got to make that pitch. So now it's 2nd and 15. They were running the ball really well on the Jets that game. I don't know why they just completely abandoned it when Kenny came in and just decided to throw it all the time. It didn't make sense to me. Again, that's Matt Canada for you, idiot. But
Yeah, I mean, just being a feeble coordinator, like we've talked about it. I mean, the Steelers' run game, you said that game looked good. I mean, throughout the whole season, it's been pretty bad so far. I want to see what Kenny Pickett can do. I mean, with a quarterback that actually has a lot more talent to him, and they're still not throwing the ball over the middle of the field like for some reason. I know that's just the Matt Canada offense. They need to fix that. Kenny Pickett needs to be throwing balls, towards the center of the field, not just out routes.
Well, I like what he's going to give his guys a chance, which I don't think Mitch really did too much. I think Mitch was a little bit too conservative. And I mean, again, that's what you got with Mitch. He wasn't really turning the ball over that much, to be fair to Mitch. The problem was he wasn't really moving the ball down the field.
Their offense was stagnant.
I want a gunslinger back there. I'll take a pick or two if it means, we can move the football down the field. So
their offense was just stagnant.
Yeah, it was. And it really looked, and look, it might have just been a spark because, Kenny's just coming in, everyone's hype. But it really looked so much better. It looks like he has it. And that's why I'm going to be intrigued to see this big stretch of games where they're playing really tough teams, really good teams. That I'm not necessarily looking for wins, but I'm looking at, is Kenny comfortable back there? Is he making plays? Because at the end of the day, I expect the Steelers to lose games because the defense is not very good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously the offense isn't very good either, but with Kenny, I want to see them not necessarily getting shootouts because I don't really expect Kenny to get in shootouts, but 250, a touchdown or two. That's what I want from Kenny week in, week out. Like 250 and a tutty. That's about it.
That'd be nice. I mean, he's going to throw a ton of picks. I can already see that, even just outside of the 3 picks from this game. Like a young quarterback, every young quarterback, unless you're like Patrick Mahomes, like Josh Allen was terrible at first until he started to develop a couple of years in. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be Josh Allen, but like this development process is going to probably take 2-3 years.
Yeah, but my thing is everyone's like he's the most pro-ready quarterback. So my not concerned, but I guess what I'm just wondering is what's his ceiling? What is this year going to be compared to like what his ceiling is? Because like if like for example, say the Steelers drafted Malik Willis and he's going in right now, like what he would be doing this year is not his ceiling. He's going to be a much better quarterback than that after when he develops. And with Kenny, how much better is he going to get from now? And I guess that's the big question overall. I mean, do we think he could have a development where he turns into not necessarily a Patrick Mahomes, but like I don't know if it was a good comp for him. Like,
ooh, yeah,
like a Joe Burrow almost. I guess is that. I don't want to say he's going to be Joe Burrow because Joe Burrow is elite, but like Joe Burrow grew a lot from year 1 to year 2, but everyone considered him to be very pro ready. Is it going to be like that, or is it going to be more like a Ryan Tannehill where he's just very stagnant?
Yeah.
You get what I'm
saying? I
was
thinking of Tannehill, Kirk Cousins as like because Pickett. When you say the words pro ready, like he is the highest floor of probably any of the quarterbacks drafted from last year. But in terms of ceiling, like I think Malik Willis has a higher ceiling.
Of course, yeah. But will Malik Willis hit that ceiling? Is the question. We don't know.
That's that, and that's why the Steelers wanted to go.
That's why you go pick it because I think he still has a pretty decent ceiling in and of itself.
Yeah, and I think he'll be.
I could see him being a Derek Carr. I could see. That'd
be nice.
That's like. I mean, is Derek Carr going to win you a Super Bowl? Probably not, but
maybe. Well, I mean, like the Raiders are okay. The Raiders are in a different situation because they're in like that just absolutely nuts division with the Chiefs, Chargers, and I think the Broncos are going to start getting better as the season goes on. Like that division just cracked. It's funny how the AFC North is actually like the probably second or worst division.
What's funny is we're like 1 game back. By the way, we're 1 game back.
Yeah, I mean that's depressing.
So it's like the season's over, but like. They're still in it. Like
next draft, they have to draft another good lineman.
Corner. They need to go
corner. Yeah, they I would say like a Sauce Gardner type corner, which I don't think they're gonna get because they're not gonna be like they'll be bad, but I don't think they're gonna be like top 5 bad.
They might be. I don't know. Quick question. What's your final standings projection right now before we see Kenny rest of the season.
And so in the AFC North, so I think the Bengals might steal a division. I think they're back now. I mean, I was at the Jet Bengal game. Like that was the first game. Like, all right, they're starting to wake up. And then they woke up against the Dolphins. They would have beat Tua even if Tua was playing. Like I think the Bengals they're going to start going on a run because it's Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. That team is just loaded. They'll be Bengals, Ravens. They'll both get in the playoffs. And then Steelers and Browns. Wow. I mean, I can easily be an optimist and say, like, oh, Kenny Pickett could give us a couple extra wins than Mitch would have. But then the thing when the Browns get Deshaun Watson back, like, they're going to be good. I mean, to be realistic, I don't know.
I think they're gonna go 5-12, maybe.
Here's the thing:
5-12 to 7-10 is my between there.
Yeah, but here's the thing about the Browns. Like Nick Chubb is like the best running back in the league.
Oh, I'm
right
talking
now.
about the Steelers, not the Browns.
No, but you're saying about like standings prediction. I'm thinking like, all right, can the Steelers outbeat the Browns?
I don't think so.
Yeah, like I think Nick Chubb, like to be realistic, Steelers finishing last this year in the AFC North.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't see how otherwise they don't because I don't really think right now with the defense is not better than the Browns defense right now.
No,
Nick Chubb's better than Najee
monster.
Harris. Kareem Hunt might even be better than Najee Harris, considering how Najee's been playing this year. Browns have a better offensive line, and they're going to get Deshaun Watson back at some point.
Amari Cooper has looked good a couple of games this year already. Like,
I just don't see how the Steelers fit. And here's the thing: I don't think it's actually bad for the Steelers to have a couple bad years. The team's very young.
Couple bad years?
A couple, yeah.
Like what now? How would you define bad?
Top 15 pick.
So you're saying top 15 pick like the next 2 or 3 years?
Only 2, this year and next year. After that, they need to be good. I don't mind 2 bad years to build up the O-line, build up the cornerbacks, and maybe some interior D-line, and then you need to be ready to go. And this only works if Pickett's the guy. Because if Pickett's not the guy, then you're screwed.
Then it's 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, exactly, because the Steelers aren't gonna be. They're gonna wait. They're a patient team, for better or worse. They're a patient team. They're gonna let Kenny Pickett. They're gonna give him years. They're not gonna be like, oh, after year 1, if he doesn't look good, they're not gonna be like, okay, let's go get another quarterback.
I think if
he looks bad next year too, then you might be like, okay, if they have a chance to get Caleb Williams, you get Caleb Williams.
Yeah,
but
I'm gonna use a word that's actually used in the NHL because the Flyers consider themselves as a retool. And the Flyers should be rebuilding. They should not be retooling. That core is terrible. But the Steelers have, a bunch of young, skilled players. Whether they're going to be great or not, we don't know. I think they're in a retool right now.
I agree. I don't think it's a rebuild because I think you have the pieces. You have enough pieces where you can retool, not necessarily rebuild. You have your running back. You have your wide receiver with George Pickens because I think he's going to be a star, right? You have Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end. Who locked into locked into a long deal. TJ Watt's in his prime, but long-term deal, and I don't really think he's gonna be slowing down anytime soon. DeMarvin Leal looks really good on the defensive line in year 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's really up to Kenny Pickett because quarterback's the most important position. If Kenny Pickett is him, if Kenny Pickett is Timothy, you have a good chance. I'm not going to say Super Bowl contenders, right? But you have a chance to be competitive again in a few years, as long as you make the right draft picks.
Yeah, and the Steelers have hit more draft picks than busted with. They're a very good drafting team. They really are. Like, I mean, how did George Pickens slide all the way to the?
If he doesn't tear his ACL, he might be the first receiver off the board.
Like, how many receivers have picked before him? Like 4 or 5?
Olave, Wilson.
Who else? But I was a London. I mean, this receiver draft class is stacked. I mean, Olave's looked really good. Wilson's starting to look really good. Drake London looks good. Yeah, like, all right. I guess that's why he slid. But at the same time, if he didn't have the character issues in college, he'd probably be up there with them.
Yeah.
Just realistic.
I'll take it. The problem is now you need to get rid of Chase Claypool because I think
he's terrible.
He's a bum.
He's not good at football anymore. It's just like, and they're gonna. Did they sign him? I'm trying to remember.
No, they never.
Yeah, so like now's the time. Maybe we were talking about.
Get a 5th round pick for him. Get a 5th round pick for him. I don't care. Get him off the team.
No, but remember who's the guy from the Bears they were trying to go after? The linebacker, Roquan
Smith.
I don't know if he's on the block anymore, but like do Claypool for Roquan Smith or something.
Wait, I think Devin Bush has been pretty good this year.
He actually has been. He hasn't been awful.
Like he's been like, like
It
I
just,
thought that was gonna be a problem. The problem is our cornerbacks are just god awful. Minus
I mean,
Cam Sutton, who I like in the slot.
yeah.
Cam Sutton in the slot is elite. Cam Sutton on the outside is okay. He's okay. Like here's my list for who you can keep as a Steelers in the defensive back. Minka, obviously.
Sutton.
I'm a Terrell Edmonds fan. I think he's important back
It's
there.
okay.
And Cam Sutton. Akeller Witherspoon has looked awful, but
He's on every
not
opposing team highlight. Every single one of him getting burned.
they need a lot. They need an Ike Taylor back there. They need an Ike Taylor back
And
there.
Ike Taylor. Big play, Willie Gay.
Oh,
Like, credit to like the Jets. Like Sauce Gardner, like I just can't get over how good he's looked. He locked up Steelers again. Like he's locked up every good team so far.
Yeah.
Like they need a Sauce Gardner, realistically.
But what are your expectations now for Pickett next week? What do you want to see against the Buffalo?
I want the Steelers in this game to be, I'm not going to even say the word competitive, somewhat competitive. I want them to like maybe have like one really, really good half. Like one, maybe the first half they come out and the Bills just light them up, which will happen. But Kenny Pickett, like you said, 200 plus yards. I want to see a throwing touchdown, not just the rushing touchdown. It's great he can run, but I want to see his arm. That's more important. Really, we want to see maybe like you know what? Best case scenario, I don't care what the score is. A Kenny Pickett to George Pickens touchdown. I can go.
I want to say this though about Kenny too. One thing that I don't know if this bothered you as much as it bothered me, but I feel like he floats backwards in the pocket a little bit too much.
So you're saying like
he floats backwards, like he just goes back way too much. I feel like
that's like a reminiscent of like playing in college when you could do that in college when the opposing pass rushes aren't that good and you kind of just free will. You can't.
Like you notice that like on that Claypool pick, he was just floating back, and then he like.
That's what you do in Madden.
If it works, it works, but it seems like it's going to cause some problems in the future. But overall, like what I want to see this week, I want to see him attack the middle of the field with success.
Well, yeah, hopefully throw to the middle of the field.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I want him to throw, find people in the middle of the field with success. And, I want to see some deep balls. I want to see his arm strength. I want to see what that looks, because, that was the big thing. He doesn't really have a big arm. Well, let's see it. I want to see how it looks in the air. I mean,
when he did the Hail Mary, he made it down the field.
That's what I'm saying. Like his arm seems fine to me. Like I feel like, and this might be somewhat of a hot take, maybe not. I feel like the Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen has maybe inflated the value of arm strength, or makes it seem like no one has big, because they could throw 80 yards down the field. Like that's not normal.
They're unicorns. Like they're so talented that 98% of quarterbacks aren't like that.
Yeah.
That people should not be throwing that far, but they're just, they're like machines, those guys.
Like if Kenny could put it with zip on a 40-yard pass, like that's fine for me. Maybe 50. But like how many times are you really gonna be throwing 50 air yards, 40 air yards?
The Steelers offense isn't built for that.
Yeah, it's just
the Chiefs offense and Bills are supposed to be like that because of those quarterbacks.
Yeah, I just feel like arm strength has been overvalued a little bit recently. But
I mean, like Mitch Trubisky, like throwing just out routes and check downs. Like no, like Kenny Pickett, dice up the middle of the field, throw 20, 30 yards, with 40. Consistency, 40 yards. Like if he throws a pick, he throws a pick. I'm sure he'll throw.
He's gonna have a long leash. He's gonna have a long leash, which he should have. I think it's just important to be patient with Kenny.
I don't think he should even have a leash.
What?
I don't think he should even have a leash. Like, what's the point of playing
people start being like, "Oh, he's a bust." I mean,
more okay, yeah.
Like from the fans.
Yeah.
He should be playing the rest of the season unless he gets injured.
I was about to say that.
No, the leash has to be with the fans, because we can't expect him to be Ben Roethlisberger, where he just wins 13 straight games. Just like that's just not going to happen. That team was a lot better than this team. So
yeah, and Ben is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like we don't know what Kenny Pickett is.
Yeah, you saw that they're texting though. They have nice communication together. It's nice.
Open communication. Yeah, I mean, there's no one better to
mentor him. At least
he does need to mentor him.
At least on the field, maybe not off. But
Yeah, no, not up to done.
uh,
Kenny Pickett is a very, clean cut, classy guy from what it seems.
from New Jersey, by the way.
He grew up, he grew up in my same county I live in, Monmouth County,
Yeah, there you go.
promotion. So that was
You should
exciting.
go say hi. You should go out and take him out for drinks when he comes back home next
Oh,
year.
yeah, I don't turn 21 of January, unfortunately.
Well,
So
when he comes home, and then
that is true.
and then just
My
party off season.
a guy from my grade in high school, his dad owns a restaurant down there, and Kenny Pickett's draft party was at that restaurant. So he was taking videos of Kenny Pickett when he was getting drafted. It was pretty cool. Yeah, the Gannons. Shout out the Gannons. It's cool. I
That's
haven't talked to him in a long time, but yeah, I saw it on his story. I was like, wow, that's pretty sick. He's from New Jersey, Jersey guy.
There's a girl who was in my Christianity. It was a sports and spirituality class at Seton Hall, and she's apparently very good friends with the Picketts.
Wow.
Yeah.
How? Oh, she has to be promotion then.
Yeah, I think so. Very good friends, and so we were talking about that throughout the draft process. But apparently, like he wanted to go to Pittsburgh and stuff like that. So
He played for Pitt. I mean, it's like he loves it there.
he's got to. So I also like how he's not this freak like Tom Brady is. Like he's not a freak. He's cut from the same cloth as Ben, as in the fact that he'll go home and open up a crack a beer after a game. I like that. I like that about him. That's a gamer right there. It's not none of those avocado ice cream freaks.
Oh, you're saying like the ones that have to like control like every single thing which I mean, Ben probably did that in his prime. Like I'm sure he probably.
Oh, nope, never did.
You're saying after every game he cracked open a beer?
I'm not saying after every game he cracked over a beer, but I mean more like he wasn't like a huge training regime guy like some of these other quarterbacks are, and that's one of the reasons why he wasn't like he couldn't last as long as say some other quarterbacks right in his career. Which obviously I want Kenny to train. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't want him to be this like psychopath like Tom Brady. Like,
but if he wins football games, what matter? Like it doesn't matter though. Let it be like that.
No. We want a normal quarterback.
Tom Brady's playing at like 40 something, and he does it, and he's the greatest quarterback ever.
I can't support a quarterback who's a freak.
Dude, you think he's a freak, but like he wins.
Okay.
So hold on. By your logic, this is funny. This is by your logic. Would you rather have Kenny Pickett not be your definition of freak, but he just turns out to a bust, or maybe or not that good, but he does the regiment and he wins?
Well, then I'd rather win. But my point is, I'd rather win like three Super Bowls with Kenny, right? Instead of him being a freak.
That would be great.
Like Ben still won 2 Super Bowls and he wasn't a freak with this regime. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, just be a normal quarterback. Don't be like a psychopath.
Like the best athletes in every sport are your quote unquote freaks. Look at Nathan McKinnon. Nathan McKinnon had like a salad, like a piece of grass after every game or something. And look at him. He's winning up.
No, not good. I want a relatable quarterback.
Okay. I want a winning quarterback. I don't care what he does off the field. It's not my business.
Be both.
I could care less if Kenny Pickett after the game went home and like freaking watched Stranger Things. Like I don't care as long as he wins.
Crack open a brewski with the boys.
That's great. I just want him to win and be successful as a Steeler.
He could do both. He can win and still do that. No.
If he wants to have like 3 carrots for dinner and like a glass of water, that's fine. He could do that. I don't care. And you shouldn't either, as long as he wins.
Oh yeah. I hope he turns into the next. You know how nice that would be, not having to go through 20 years of just pain like our parents.
Yeah, this is gonna sound really weird. So you're 21. I'm
22.
20. You are 22. Sorry, I'm about to turn 21. The next 20 years, I guess, are our prime if you think about it, of like being able to go to a ton of stuff. From ages like 20 to 40. We'll still do it when we're older, I'm sure. But like, this is when. You
have your most freedom in a way.
Yeah. Before like you get a really big job when you're older and like you can't go, my dad would remember on the podcast, all the Steeler games he went to when he was younger, like, this is when we're going to be going just to a ton of stuff. I just hope like that window wasn't just the 2000s to like the last couple of years. And then I don't want the window to be shut the next 20 years when it's like our prime almost.
Yeah. I'm intrigued to see how it is. I wonder if there's a lower chance of that, considering, right, the Steelers are normally a good organization, but now quarterbacks are so important. Like in the 80s and 90s, could, like, the thought process was you could build around the other team and not necessarily have an elite quarterback. Now it's like you need an elite quarterback to win, right?
Yeah,
Like, because that's a big reason they passed on Marino. Chuck Noll thought, build defense first, then get your quarterback. So, I mean,
that's a really
they
good
know
point.
now you just need to get your quarterback. I think that's a better chance of them. I trust them to make the right decision.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like the times were different back then. They thought they could get by with like a C plus B quarterback almost. Like, I mean, if they had Dan Marino, just think about it.
They would
They
have
would.
won. They would have like 8 Super Bowls. No, they would have like 10 Super Bowls if they had damn right.
All right, I just at least one or two more you can add
Yeah, think about
them.
it. You have four. You have four in the 70s. Tack on 2 to 3 with Marino with those teams that they had, right? Those teams they had in the 90s. Tack on 2 to 3 more. That's 6, right? Say conservatively, you had 6 Super Bowls. 2 more with Ben if they get Ben still. Now you're at 8. Yeah. So
There's a lot of stuff that 2020 vision hindsight. Like, I think that's why the big reason they drafted Pickett. I know people were saying like, no, it's just because like the NFL ready. You imagine if like the Rooneys didn't draft another pick
yeah,
guy.
they were gonna draft Pickett. I mean, they couldn't skip on another pick quarterback like that.
He's not Dan Marino. He'll never be Dan Marino. You can
No.
already tell. Dan Marino was another unicorn that just was so talented. But
You
like,
also have to think this too when you look at Kenny Pickett's last year. Everyone's like, "Oh, well, he wasn't great every year." Because that was kind of my thing. But it's like he threw 40-something touchdowns, to like 9 picks last year. Like it was incredible. Like that's not a fluke. You don't fluke 40 touchdowns and
it's
like
college though.
so
It's college.
pro style offense.
Think about how many good Alabama quarterbacks that were great in college that busted in the NFL.
Yeah, but you have to think Pitt isn't Alabama. Like it's not like Alabama has incredible talent at every single position. Pitt doesn't. They had Jordan Addison. Other than that, the running backs aren't that great. Their defense was okay. Their offensive line wasn't special. Like it was Kenny Pickett. Look how bad they are this year.
Yeah, they're. I mean, now
That team was, I think, the biggest not indictment, but the biggest thing to say how good Kenny Pickett was last year is looking at Pitt this year. Yeah, they lost their offensive coordinator, but they're nowhere near as good as they were last year. Nowhere near as good.
I mean, yeah, I mean, he was a great college quarterback. And that's why he played
Incredible.
like
He's a gamer. He has it. And that's the one thing I'll say. When he came in against the Jets, he had it. It didn't look too big for him. And that's what I'm really excited for.
and that's what I meant by NFL ready, that he could just jump into a situation like that and at least hold his own. Like, I
No,
think
but it's different than that. Like he looks like he could be special. He came in and I'm like, this guy could be special.
I mean, I hope so, but you only saw one half.
Doesn't it's a feeling. You know what? I told my dad this. I had this feeling. I hadn't felt it that way since like prime Ben.
Oh, okay, Joe, we're
Wait,
getting
no. Like I felt comfortable with him in the game.
Well, yeah, I felt comfortable with him in the game because like I knew if Mitch was in the game, there was no shot of them winning.
Like I actually felt like I feel like if Kenny Pickett, if we need a game winning drive, I feel comfortable with Kenny Pickett.
Yeah,
I don't feel comfortable with Mitch.
No, I didn't feel comfortable with Mitch for 1 second this season while he was quarterback.
No, like I knew if we were down late in the game, I did not think Mitch would lead a comeback. I totally felt like if we needed to, like we obviously didn't have enough time, but I think Kenny could have led us down the field and scored a touchdown. 100%.
Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I think he definitely has like a clutch gene to him, which is you can't teach that. It just some guys have it, some guys don't. So definitely something that we can at least see this season, even if he's not throwing for 5,000 yards or whatever. Like as long as he could just, maybe steal a couple of games for them. I don't think the Steelers are going to tank for anyone. It's just
No, they won't tank. They're just going to suck.
Top 15 pick, get an elite, guy on defense, get a lineman, and see what happens.
All right. Well, that'll do it for us today. We'll see you guys soon. And yeah, Kenny Pickett season the Kenny Pickett era is underway, and we'll talk more specifics about the Bills game on Friday.